Basically, I just had a virus which was called myocarditis, which basically can affect anybody, which could have a cold, but sadly it killed my heart. So I was taken to Norfolk and Norwich, where I had a cardiac arrest, and they took me to Patworth. And on arrival at Patworth, I had another cardiac arrest, where at the time they obviously had to put VADs into my body to keep me onto a machine, which was my heart, as my heart had died. So I was placed in a coma. They brought me round where they informed me that I was at Patworth, and at that time I didn't know what Patworth was or what they'd done, to be informed that the machine I was on and the 4 pipes what were in my body was called a VADS machine, and the VADS machine was a replacement of my heart, which was keeping me alive, and that I needed a new heart. And I was on the heart transplant list, and my reaction was just, oh right. I then got a call while I was in critical care, being informed that they'd found me a donor, and I was having the transplant. When I got the call for, obviously, that they found a donation for me, I can't explain actually how I felt, because I just didn't believe it, to be quite honest, that I'd gone on the transplant list on the Monday, and actually on the Thursday that they'd found me a donation, because I know that I was on the top of the list, but to find one so quickly, that I felt so honoured, that I was so excited but also so nervous that I was going to put my family through the trauma again, but also as well the excitement of me having the transplant, and that I could live my life to the fullest, because I didn't know what I was going to feel like and everything like that. I felt very nervous as the time came for me to go down to have the operation, to have the transplant, but on the other side of it, I felt very appreciated to the family who had made that decision for me to have the DCD heart. Not a lot of people understand and realise that you can have a DCD heart, but I was very appreciated, and my thoughts were with the family as I was going down to have the transplant in reference to this, because it must have been a hard time for them to reflect on everything what had happened. Having a transplant is quite a hard thing to go through for both sides of both families, because of the heartache of one family and of the joy of the other side of the family as well. In reference to donation, I would just advise and ask you to just talk about it over a cup of tea, over tea, just as a chat, as a family, because it is so important. I was a donor from the age of 18, and it is so important now to know that if anything happens to anybody in your family, that if there comes a point that you have to be put in this position, that you actually know that your wishes of your family are granted, because it is important that if you do have to come to this position and you have to have this decision, that it is important that every part of your family knows that you are singing from the same hymn sheet, because you can save somebody's life like the family saved my life.